Alrighty there. Good morning. Happy Wednesday. How you guys doing with this heat? Let me know. Drop it in the comments. I'm definitely feeling it today, so if you be patient with how I'm moving and talking a little bit slower, just gonna roll with it. So today we're gonna be talking about inflammation and immunity. Most of the time we think of these as separate issues, right? We have our immunity, which then affects like if we pick up a virus or get a cold or whatever it may be. And then we have inflammation, which, that can be contribute to aches and pains, maybe an autoimmune issue. There's various reasons, right? However, there's two things that we do day to day or that is part of our innate being that will actually affect both of these systems, and that is what we eat and our nervous system. So, the choices we make day to day regarding both of these systems, we'll say, can either hinder our immunity and increase our inflammation, or vice versa. Most of the time, we want number two, right? We want our immunity to be strong, and we want our inflammation to be at its normal levels. Of course, there's certain times when inflammation is appropriate. We just don't want it to run rampant, you know? So, I'm going to be having a workshop on this whole topic, and both of these areas, the nervous system and sorry, just kind of the nervous system and diet, and I'm going to go over specific tips on both of these issues in this 2-hour workshop and so much more. You're going to learn a ton about your body as well. I put the links in the comment if you do want to join. However, because you showed up today, you're in this group, you're watching, I'm going to give you some information to get started right now, some mini wins, so to speak. So the first is regarding your nutrition. What I would really like you to do for homework this week is to journal. Write down. If there's a food that you're not sure, or if you're working on your protocol to boost your wellness, but you're not really sure what's working or what's not, the best thing to do is to journal it down and then observe. So you eat something, what's the consequence? A lot of the time what goes wrong in diet I see is that someone's making too many changes in their diet all at one time. The best thing you can do is, if you think about it, most of us eat pretty much the same thing day after day just because we get into a rhythm and a routine and it's efficient. So if you're making one change, for example, maybe avoiding dairy or avoiding gluten or eating less sugar, and then do that for a couple weeks and journal like the consequences, the effects of that one thing and how you feel in your body or even your immunity and aches and pains, then you know that thing works or it doesn't work, and then you can make another change. Where if you make too many changes, then you don't know what works or what doesn't work. Also, when you do that, when you make one change, let's say you get rid of dairy, for example, and you notice the consequences. Let's say you have less congestion, you have a little bit more energy, you don't feel as achy in your joints. And then when you add dairy back into your diet to confirm, do those symptoms come back or not? Or was it something else going on in your life? So begin to journal to take notice of what you put in your mouth, how it affects more than just feeling full or liking a particular food. It's actually the fuel of your body, right? And now the thought I get a lot, or the objection I get a lot when I make this suggestion is, well, Alison, I just don't have time for this. Like, I don't have time to be observing and tracking. But let me pose this to you. If you had more energy, if you weren't distracted by those aches and pains and didn't have as much soreness, would that be worth that time that you invested to figure out the protocol that's most efficient for your body, that like opens the door that you can utilize for your life, right? So sometimes you really have to observe the thoughts that you have and see if you can reframe them, because we get in our own way. We hold ourselves back sometimes. And it just takes that outsider observer to be like, wait a minute here. If you actually slow down and observe, you're not going to keep spinning your wheels, right? You're actually going to get the energy that you're seeking. So then you can be more creative. You'll wake up in the morning feeling more refreshed, that sort of thing. So it does take work, but then in the front end, but then it pays off in the back end, right? Okay. So next thing, um, I'm going to give you a little 10-minute reset yoga routine that you can do if you're working from the desk. And it's really great for both the shoulders, the neck, which, get all crunchy from working at the desk, or driving. Even though I'm driving less, I am still driving. And it's also a reset for your nervous system because it's going to connect you more to that breath, okay? So I'm going to go through it a little quick. The holds in this little series are going to be shorter than normally what I do in a normal yoga class, but it's just so you get the full series. So some suggestions I have is write the series down, and then you can tweak it to fit you and your lifestyle. This is just a starting point. And then on your own pace, you can practice it and hold it longer. But maybe the short little mini session is what you need to just break up the sitting at work and reconnect you back to the breath, reconnect you to that present moment, get that static energy moving again. So some areas to explore. And again, and if you're interested on a lengthened extrapolation of all this with tips, techniques, and suggestions, then sign up for that workshop. The link is in the comments. Again, of course, I'd love to hear like how things are going for you guys. I also have a poll in the group and on my personal page about changing the headline and the intro for my podcast. So if you could leave me your feedback on that, I would greatly appreciate it. Okay, so let me get you going with this little mini series to reverse the time at the desk, okay? And it's going to connect to your breath and reset your nervous system. So again, helping to, in a general sense, reduce some inflammation. Let me just see, make sure you can see my mat there. So strap is nice to have, it's not required. So where you start, first of all, is at a wall. And you want to place your hand on the wall. Try to connect the palm onto the wall. So for some of you, you might get a stretch right here in the forearm, especially if you type a lot or grip a lot. Perfectly good. Others of you might get a stretch in your chest if you're tend to round in sometimes. So notice where it affects your body. The important things to be aware of is you don't want your shoulder to collapse in, and you don't want to overarch through your back. So you want to engage your core, hand on the wall, and then you just breathe. Hold this position, might be not enough. If you want to add some fascia unsticking here, you can work with the breath by bringing the ear to the shoulder. Inhale, returning back to center, ear to the shoulder, return back to center. So you're doing little head nods. I'll show them here in case my head was cut off. Where you gently bring the head to the side and then return back to center for around a 10. Don't go crazy here because this whole area is pretty vulnerable. You could also be flossing your nerve tissue, which is good. We want to release some of that stickiness. But again, nerves don't like to be yanked and pulled and overstretched. So honor your body. If you feel any numbness and tingling, if you stop and it goes away, it's the one time where I say numbness and tingling is okay, as long as it goes right away. If it's lingering, then it's too much, not appropriate for you at this time. Then you might want to reach out to some type of practitioner to see what's going on in your nerves. So a lot of the times someone already has nerve symptoms when this is a problem, whether it be in their hand, their arm, or a neck issue. If you don't have any of these issues, and you're feeling lingering nerve system, it might be something that you want to investigate, or maybe you just put in your back pocket and observe, right? Okay, so then we're going to come to the seated position. So we're moving from standing to the ground, to try to work with our nervous system, because a lot of the times, you know, when we go from work or working, our brain, we're in this very intellectual space, and our eyes, right, are seeking and searching and reading and doing all these things. So we want to meet our body where it's at. Sometimes it's very hard to go from work, work, work straight down to the mat and lie on your back, because our brain just doesn't shut off. So if we can meet it standing and slowly work our way down, that's nice to do midday during lunch to replenish and restore. Okay, so you can sit cross-legged. If this irritates your knees, you can sit wide leg. That doesn't really matter. You can even sit in a chair if you don't want to get on the ground at all. Okay, so simple cross-legged here. You're going to clasp your hands behind your back. So I'm going to show you here. So hands are clasped behind the back. Draw the shoulder blades together. Again, engage your core so you don't overarch. You want to draw the front ribs towards the back body as you engage your core. Then slide your left forearm behind your back here. We're going to work again with our neck. Inhale for length, exhale right ear to the right shoulder. So we're getting into this whole chest trap region. Again, you can do this sitting. You can even do this standing if you would like. Other variations, angling the chin down, angling up towards the sky. Close the eyes, breathe. And then repeat the same on the other side, right? Again, I'm going through this a little bit quicker than what I normally would do in class, but then you have the sequence and you can practice at your own pace, sliding it in during your day if you're writing it down, and you don't have to come back to the video each time. It gets you a little bit more independent. Next one's for the shoulders. Two options here. You can use that strap, keeping the hands wide, knuckles towards the sky, lifting up. Again, draw in the rib cage so you're not overarching, root down through the sit bones. And you can work with your breath, going raising and lowering. Or maybe you want to clasp your hands. Inhale, palms towards the sky, reaching up. Noticing if the shoulders are coming up by the ears, you want to gently maintain space in your neck. Core strong, rooted through the sit bones. Now, if you're lifting the arms high like this, you're feeling pain in the top of the shoulders, not a good thing. If you're reaching the arms high and it's causing you to overarch, another thing to be aware of. So in either of these cases, number one, if you're feeling pain in the top of the shoulder, go wide with the strap. Wide is better. If you are overarching, you can go wide with the strap, or just keep the arms in front until you're able to reach them higher, okay? Then from here, we're gonna do two more. Let's change the crossing of the legs if you have the legs crossed. Again, you can do these at the desk. They don't have to be sitting here on the ground. We'll get a gentle twist. This one's nice in the office chair. You can actually use your armrest. You don't want to crank and pull though. You want to use your breath more to get the twist. So inhale, arms go overhead. Exhale, you're going to use your obliques to turn. Left arm outside of right leg. Again, inhale for length. Exhale, you wrap. And you repeat that a few times. This using the breath to get the mobility. And then we return back to center. Inhale, arms overhead. Exhale, we repeat opposite side. Just gently using the breath to turn. Good. Coming back to center, we'll get one for the back of the shoulders now. Inhale, arms go wide. Exhale, right elbow goes underneath left. Now, couple options here. You can give yourself a hug, lifting the elbows towards the sky, or you can actually go for the eagle bind, fingers towards the sky. Either case, it's very active. You're pushing out as if you're going to fling your arms open and lifting upwards. So the shoulder blades spread wide. And breathe. Very nice. Let's repeat the same thing on the other side. Opening, exhale, left elbow underneath right, going for the hug or the bind. Keeping the chest square, pelvis square, sit bones rooted. Breathing. And letting that go, shaking it out. Okay, so one little one to release the low back, walking the arms forward. From here, you can reach long or you can release the head down. If you're sitting in the chair at the desk, this might seem a little awkward, but it usually feels very nice for the low back. So what you can do is sit in a chair, bring the knees wide. This is called the chair child's pose. Use your hands to allow your belly to drape in between your thighs and then relax your head. So a couple of variations for a release in your low back. Now, and then breathe there, hold. With the head down position, it's very calming for the nervous system. So we went from a little bit more active. This one you hold a little bit longer. So then for the last position, you'll be ready now to do either a 5 or 10 minute restorative posture, depending on how much time you might have in your lunch break. Now, a comment I get often when I suggest a restorative pose midday is like, oh my goodness, I'm going to come out of it really sleepy. So that might be a note to yourself that either you're not getting enough sleep or your quality of sleep is not so great, and that might be something you want to work on if you're coming out of it feeling really restored or sleepy. However, most of the time when I practice it midday, if I do 10 to 20 minutes, I come out feeling so refreshed and energized, and then I'm able to be a lot more creative in the afternoon. So I'll give you a very simple restorative pose. Again, for you, if you're in like a skirt, let's say at work, and you do the desk child's pose, that might be your restorative pose. You might not want to lie on the ground. You just hold that for some time. Or if you actually do want to lie on the ground, a very simple one is just putting a bolster under your knees and lying all the way back, a blanket under the head, and letting go in that position. So, and you can, I would set a timer, because a lot of the times if you never practice restorative poses, if you don't have that timer set, then you're kind of wondering in the background, like, how long have I been here? You'll think it's been a whole 10 minutes and you look up and like 45 seconds have passed. So one way to take that angst out of the whole equation is to just set a timer on your phone, or using some simple Staples timer solution, and set it for 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how much time you have. And then again, observe how you feel when you end this whole practice and have that restoration midday. Again, if you would like to learn more, I have a whole workshop on this coming up this Saturday. We're going to go over some specific nutrition, diet protocols. I'm going to give you a more in-depth yoga practice to work with inflammation in the nervous system, and more tips for the yoga practice. And you're going to learn more about your body. So if you want to sign up, the link is in the comments. And even if you can't attend this live, still sign up, because it's, once I teach it, it's going to be evergreen. So you can replay it as many times as you want, whenever you want. Okay, it's going to be available just to purchase online. So you can get going at it Sunday if you're not able to attend Saturday. Okay, so that's what I've got for you today. I'll be back next week. I'm working on the time of this because my daughter is in homeschool right now, and my husband and I are splitting the shift. So as a 5-year-old, as a kindergartner, tell me if you can relate, comment below. She cannot do this distance learning by herself. Like, someone needs to be actively involved the whole time, which is truthfully totally an amazing experience as a parent. I never like really set out to homeschool my child, and to have this opportunity where the curriculum's laid out, I don't have to be the teacher. I just get to kind of do the fun stuff, help her along in the process. It's actually been a gift, and an unexpected gift. So I am trying to really carve out this time for her, because it is a special time. So the 9 a.m. is not working. However, if you could comment below, let me know. I'm deciding between this noon time on Wednesdays, or 9:30 time. I might be able to fit that in. So if you have a preference and you like these lives, I would appreciate your feedback. Also, feedback on the tagline I would love as well. All right, I'll see you guys next week. Bye for now.